Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. We're going to be finishing up part 4, the last 2 chapters in Living Untethered, and we are talking about thoughts and dreams in this segment of the book. So we're going to finish up chapter 19 and 20, and chapter 19 is titled Dreams and the Subconscious. To get a better understanding of how stored mental energies get released, let's turn to a favorite topic of psychology. Dreams. What are dreams? The traditional Freudian concept of dreams is that some events happening outside leave unfinished impressions on the mind. A little boy wants a bicycle but doesn't get one. He goes to sleep and dreams he's got a bicycle. The original bicycle event didn't sit well, so the boy pushed it away in his mind. He suppressed it. When he went to sleep and was not controlling his thoughts as much, the mind was free to release what it had not been free to express while the boy was awake. We all experience this type of dream fairly regularly. A charged event from the waking world finds its way into our dream world. You are not willfully doing this. It is the mind trying to release built-up energy patterns. There are all kinds of dreams. Freud calls the dream we've been discussing basic wish fulfillment. It is a samskara formed in the waking mind, releasing energy by creating the thoughts you watch while you're asleep. These thoughts that make up your dreams are not that different from the automatic thoughts going on in our waking mind. They are certainly much more vivid, especially in their imagery. This is because when you're sleeping, the mind can focus completely on creating the thoughts. It is not busy being distracted by the senses or the many other layers of thoughts and emotions going on. In addition, you're not willfully pushing the thoughts away. This is why the mind is much more creative when you fall asleep. It can create an entire complex world in full 3D and Technicolor. Most people can't do that when they're awake, though obviously their minds are perfectly capable of doing so. Once you stop suppressing uncomfortable experiences, one thing you're going to realize is that there really is no subconscious mind per se. The subconscious mind and the conscious mind are actually the same one mind. And the only reason we see a difference is because we artificially create a division. To understand this, imagine looking around a room of people and saying, "The people on the right side of the room I like. I'm comfortable with those people. The people on the left side of the room, however, I'm very uncomfortable with them." Having stated this, imagine you never look again at the left side of the room because it makes you uncomfortable. What you've just done is separated the room into the part you're comfortable with and the part you don't want anything to do with. The latter part exists, but no longer exists for you. That is exactly what you've done to create the subconscious mind. The part of your mind you're not willing to look at is what we call the subconscious. Fortunately, these artificially divided parts of your mind will merge once you stop suppressing. You will get the rest of your mind back and you will be able to use its full power. Imagine how much mental power you waste by pushing all that mess into the subconscious. Then you have to keep it down there for the rest of your life. It's really amazing what a mess we can make because we can't handle the moments passing right in front of us. The thoughts we push down into the subconscious play a role in both our waking and dreaming states. The reason your mind is creating your automatically generated dream thoughts is the same reason your mind creates your automatically generated waking thoughts. In both cases, you are not willfully creating this mental activity. It is happening on its own as part of the mind's attempt to release blocked energies. The common thread between your waking and dreaming states is that it's the same consciousness, that it's aware of both. You who is watching the dream is the same you who watches your waking thoughts and experiences the outside world. This is why when you wake up, you can say, "What a dream I had." How do you know? You know because you were there, the same you who is aware while you're awake. Interestingly, because it is the same you, there can be a lot of spiritual growth in dreams. Meher Baba, another great yoga master, said that you can work off karma in your dreams. He said that by going through an experience in your dreams, it is actually beneficial to your spiritual evolution. You're at least allowing some blocked energies to release that you didn't allow while you were awake, and that is healthy. There is a great deal we can learn about ourselves from the dream state. If what you stored in the subconscious was more traumatic than simply not liking what happened or not getting what you wanted, what happens? Some things are much harder to deal with than just preferences. There are some scars that are so deep they can't even come up in a dream. If they tried to release, you would wake from a nightmare in a very disturbed state. In other words, your consciousness isn't able to experience the event even when it manifests in a dream. You resist and become so uncomfortable about it that you wake up. So how does this energy release? Unfinished energy stored in your mind is always trying to release at one level or another. If the release would wake you from a dream, your mind, all by itself, symbolizes what it's trying to express. Instead of dreaming about the car accident that killed your younger brother, you dream that there are birds flying high overhead and an eagle swoops down, whoops, I swooped too hard, swoops down and takes one of the small birds away. You're willing to watch that, but you're not willing to watch a car accident with someone you love dying. This is all very real. Your mind is doing you a favor. Your brilliant mind did that in an attempt to stay healthy and released at least some of the pent-up energy. That's what the symbology of dreams is about. It's truly amazing how brilliant your mind is when left to its own resourcefulness. Just as your body is always trying to heal itself, so your mind is always trying to release these impurities that are stuck in there. And our last chapter in this part, Waking Dreams, Chapter 20. At this point, you can certainly appreciate the tremendous power of your mind, especially in regard to creating dreams on its own. Creating dreams is not a willful act. Your mind has the power to do it by itself. But as you've seen, your dreams are not the only mental objects that your mind creates automatically. The voice inside your head that talks all day is the exact same expressive power of mind that creates your dreams. It would not be incorrect to call that dialogue in your head your waking dreams. Every personal thing that voice says is because of the samskaras you have stored inside. Your mind is trying to release those blockages during the day while you're still awake. For example, you see somebody running and that voice says inside, "I wonder what he did wrong. It's like my brother when he ran away. What is this guy running away from?" The problem is that this current situation has nothing to do with your brother, and this person could be running for exercise. Your mind is using that opportunity to release energies that are pent up inside. That's why so much of the mind's dialogue is negative. The vast majority of energy you have stored inside you is because of things you didn't like. When subsequent events happen that stimulate these negative samskaras, the new events are automatically experienced as negative. In essence, the negativity keeps compounding. If you really want to see how your preferences manage to make life a negative experience, go build a house and decide to paint the kitchen walls white. Do you know there are more than 50 shades of white? Just wait until you try to pick which white you want. In other words, there's only one tiny window of color choice that will align with your preferences and makes you happy. All the rest will get you upset. Just look at the odds you're up against. There are billions of things that can happen in life that don't match your preferences, and there are only a few that do. Under these conditions, the probability that life is going to be a negative experience is extremely high. This is not because life is negative. It is because the only thing that isn't negative to you is that which exactly matches your preferences. It is so important to understand this. You have set up a system in which you can't win. You have expanded what can bother you to include all experiences that remind you of what bothered you before. What is more, life almost never totally satisfies you because everything has to be exactly what you want, to a T. This shows you the power of past and present preferences. The more preferences you have, the less you will be okay. So far, we've learned a lot about the mind. We begin with an understanding of empty mind. Then we discussed the here and now layer of mind, which internally renders the images being received by the senses. On top of that layer of mind, the real trouble begins. You in there, the conscious entity that knows you're there, used the power of will to keep certain images from passing right through. This resulted in the layer of mind called the samskara layer. It holds the impressions you stored from your past that are the basis for your personal preferences. As if it's not enough that you built this entire structure in your mind, you then committed your life to thinking about how to serve it. Your consciousness is pretty lost, constantly focusing on this false mental concept of self. Fortunately, there is a way out. It's called witness consciousness. If you can learn to sit back and simply watch that voice inside your head, you can free yourself. This is not about shutting up the voice. Don't ever fight with your mind. You're the one who did this to your mind. How dare you complain about the mind? If you keep eating food that's making you sick, do you yell at the food? Of course not. You change your behavior. Likewise, since it is these stored samskaras that are messing up the greatness of your mind, you change your inner behavior. The way to do this is quite simple. Release the samskaras you've already stored and don't store any more. Easier said than done, but we will certainly explore how to do this. One thing complicates our task. The mind is not the only force making it difficult to find peace inside. There are also emotions. It's bad enough that the mind is constantly releasing stored energy through that inner voice, but the mind has a little sister, the heart. The heart can create emotions that make it really interesting to live in there. Sometimes it's like there are volcanoes going on inside, and other times your inner state is so beautiful you just want to melt into it. What's going on with that? And more importantly, what can you do about it? As you might expect, that is exactly where we're going as we continue our journey into exploring what it's like to live inside yourself. All right, so the next part 5, we're going to be talking about the heart. And there will be 5 chapters in that section as well. So we will stop right here, finishing up part 4, a little bit shorter of a video, but I think that's okay, balances it out a bit. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you haven't already, please subscribe, please comment, please like. I would love to know that these videos are helping people. That's purely and truly what I do it for. That's all I care about, is just helping whoever wants to discover this information, listen to it, and take a few things from it. So until next time, please take care of yourself. Please take care of those around you. And I will see you again for our next part talking about the heart. Bye-bye.